So this guy's been called the donkey since day one, but damn, I did not know he was this much of an ass. Like, he's always been the type to start some shit, but we are entering an era of Draymond's career that is strictly defined by the antics and the outbursts and the chokeouts and the flying punches towards teammates. Bro, you're the veteran on the team, and this is the precedent you set? Steph and Clay still have to clean up the messes you make as you proceed to take zero accountability for a years-long trend that you and only you find yourself in. But somehow, you, the only constant here, isn't ever responsible. It's always someone else. Look at the shame Curry is expressing here as he has to prevent one of his only remaining supporting cast members from getting himself ejected from a game 6 minutes into its starting. The outcome is the expected one, and man, doesn't Steph look just thrilled. Way to support your team, Draymond. But ask Draymond the amount of career techs he has and the amount of career techs he deserves, and the difference between those two numbers will just be the first number. But sure, NBA, this is the guy with the perspective and analysis we're just dying to hear on national broadcast. This kind of nasty reputation Draymond's getting is the type that prematurely ended careers, the way it did for DeMarcus Cousins or Hassan Whiteside. Once you're labeled as a head case, it's tough to shake that off. But because of Draymond's unique, close-knit bond with the Warriors, he'll be shielded from any form of consequence that exceeds mild criticism. And for that reason, we'll never see a reformed Draymond. As the years progress and the production and play only sinks further into the dumpster, we are going to be stuck with a guy that can strictly provide his worst attributes. And that lack of reflection may be the reason why this could very well be the last year we ever see Draymond Green, a multi-time champion, perennial all-star, and defining athlete of the 2010s, on an honestly not so exclusive list like this. It may be impossible to not just harp on the antics all day, but believe it or not, Draymond did spend some time actually playing basketball this year. I know I was surprised too. Maybe it's not a surprise to you, but it really wasn't easy to find research that actually broke down the way he played this year. It seems like everyone's just pissed off at him, and he's pissed off at whatever foreign big man he happens to be opposing on any given night. The Ringer very questionably ranked him at 53 this year in their top 100 ranking, and still, one of the defining attributes they put for him was, quote, podcast bro. Nobody can avoid not talking about the off-the-court Draymond. What is this dude doing on the hardwood? That all aside, Draymond is still, at least shows remnants of the quirky, undersized, unorthodox, do-it-all big that at one point was a really notable player in this league. Still a smart, crafty passer and playmaker that quietly gets Golden State's offense going. He always will be a great piece to plant next to the greatest shooter of all time. He also finally began shooting the three ball at a similar rate and with a similar efficiency that he was early in his career with those pre-KD era Warriors, which was a part of his game people were either sorely missing or just confused about why it ever left. He actually shot damn near 40% from behind the arc this year, marking a career best. And yeah, oh my god, the defense. How did I forget the defense in this entire segment? Had to rent out a whole damn studio because my brain is a peanut. Knock knock, anybody home? No. Draymond is unsurprisingly declining on the defensive end of things. He's slower, he recorded the highest defensive rating of his career this year. That's a bad thing. And is very obviously not the all defense or even defensive player of the year caliber versatile defensive stopper Prime Dre was. Hence why Prime Dre was a top 25 player, and 2024 Draymond finds himself all the way down here. But Green is still a strong, imposing force with the strength necessary to match up nicely with taller opponents in the post, and he still has some degree of agility and quickness to at least keep up with the perimeter guys. I mean, check out how he stops Giannis here. Teams usually have to build a wall to prevent this guy from getting to the rim, but the unstoppable force that is the Greek Freak meets the unmovable object of Draymond, and that object takes a 1-0 series lead in this clash between two titans. The thing is, Green is experiencing a defensive decline almost hidden in plain sight, in that his defensive prowess used to be so loud and noticeable just for how unorthodox it was. A raging Celtics fan could swoop into the studio and chop one of my hands off, and I would still have enough fingers to count how many players in NBA history could competently and elitely guard 1 through 5, and Draymond is at the very top of that list. Dude's D used to be the talk of the town, and no, I am not talking about that Snapchat incident. But these days, his defense just doesn't draw in nearly the degree of attention. He's just kinda pretty good. And hey, that's still pretty good, right? Like, by definition, pretty good is pretty good. But overall, at the end of the day, I mean, the Warriors had a losing year. Draymond's clearly losing a step, and at this stage in his career, he comes off as more of a pundit than a player. Should we have expected this outcome? Maybe. But is it also reasonable to expect a 33-year-old to acknowledge how his outbursts may negatively impact the strength of his team and as a result work on himself a bit to maybe just mellow out slightly as a result? Yeah, that's pretty reasonable too. The older guys in this league are supposed to be leaders, but instead, this one's just a burden.